Hey, Wings fans, God bless you all, and welcome to episode 2 of the 25-26 edition of a little thing that we like to call Wings Weekly. My name is Sylvester Evanuk, new voice of the Aberdeen Wings, and joining me on the first half of the program is head coach and general manager of the Aberdeen Wings, Scott Langer. Scott, thank you for taking the time to join me on Wings Weekly here today. We'll begin first by recapping the regular season opening weekend against the Watertown Shamrocks there. The beginning of the Dakota Buffalo Cup, first couple wins there against the Shamrocks to kick that off. The 25-26 campaign, the home opener on Friday night, the Wings taking care of business on home ice with a 6-1 victory against the Shamrocks inside the Odde Ice Center. Aberdeen trails early in the first period, 1-0, but the Wings would go ahead to strike for the next 6 goals in the game to skate away with the 6-1 victory. Coach, I just want to hear your thoughts on the team's performance and the home opening victory there on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we went down quite a little early, on a screen, dives was screen there, and the puck found its way. So, but the positive out of that is our guys were not taken back by that. They were ready to go out and win that hockey game. And I thought after the first period, we really got the momentum going on our side. We were playing at a good rate. We were making plays, and I thought the ice was tipped a little bit there after that first period.
Agreed with that. Shift into the back half of the home series in Watertown on Saturday night. Very similar start for Aberdeen, trailing 1-0 early in the first period. But the Wings offense wakes up again, scores 6 goals in the game, and the Wings defense holds off a third period rally there from Watertown for the 6-3 road victory against the Shamrocks in Watertown. Coach, a little bit of a tighter game there on Saturday, but again, able to pick up that 6-3 victory on the road. Just what is your analysis there from the Saturday night win in Watertown?
Not an easy place to play. Obviously, they do a really good job there. Their fans are pretty passionate, so we knew they were going to come out hard, and they did. And then, we obviously we gave one up there pretty quick there, and again, a little sleepy first period again. Something we certainly have to have our mind on, that we have to be, our starts had to be quicker. But again, we came out in the second period and we were playing at a pretty good clip there. So I thought again, as the game went on, we got better. They ended up getting some, 2 late goals there. But at that point, we had already kind of put the game away with some timely scoring by some guys, and, some of our vets really chipping in and being leaders to get us that win.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you mentioned the veteran presence there. The Wings offense this weekend was led from returning veteran Jack McDonough, who scored twice in the Friday night victory. Owen Pitters, he found the back of the net twice in the Saturday night win, and Jibber Cool also tallying 2 goals on the score sheet in the Saturday night victory as well. Coach, what do you have to say about your performances from the veteran forwards this weekend?
Yeah, really good. I mean, you also got to obviously throw Sheets in there, and Moose had 4-point weekend. So there's and then you look at the back end, the job that those veteran guys did on defense. We didn't give up a whole lot of grade A chances. So and then both goaltenders being able to come out with wins. So I think, when you have a veteran team and they're ready to perform and lead the group, I think you're going to have a lot of success. And I think that's what you're seeing on week 1.
Moving ahead now to this week's schedule, the Wings will be hitting the road for Blaine, Minnesota for the NAHL Showcase. 3 games against non-divisional opponents in 4 days there, starting with the Wisconsin Wendigo on Wednesday evening, daybreak there on Thursday, and then back to it on Friday against the United States National Team Development Program, and then finishing off on Saturday against the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. Coach, you've had plenty of showcase events here in your years in the North American Hockey League. What's your experience like coaching in these events, and just the experience for the Wings organization as a whole to be a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think as a team, it's an opportunity to showcase our franchise. You get in front of all those people. You want to have a good showing, and you want to show them that we run a really good operation here in Aberdeen. And to do that, we got to play good hockey. And obviously, you got to take one game at a time. can't look ahead or worry about what's coming up next. You just have to focus on the team you're playing and getting the result that you came there for. So, you have to come out of there with points because you're playing non-divisional opponents, and other teams in your division are going to be taking points. So you want to make sure that you play good hockey, and 3 games in 4 days is hard to do at this level. So you have to really manage your body and your mind. So, but we'll be ready to go. I think our group is excited to get to Blaine and to play against some other teams besides our divisional games. And right now our sights are on the Wendigo.
I kind of wanted to bring up, I know, like you just said, you don't want to look too far ahead into your matchups here, but the Wings facing the USA National Team Development Program on Friday. They're obviously not a team you face during the regular season. What's going to be different about facing that U17 team on Friday?
I mean, I don't think we want to make it into something any different than what the normal is. It's still another game that you have to compete and outwork your opposition. So, but you're playing against the best 17-year-olds in our country. So, they're talented. They can skate, and they're well coached, and they always give our league tough games. So, we know we're going to have a hard fought game against them, but we'll be ready to play them. And again, it's the big game of the night there. So. A lot of eyes will be on that game.
Absolutely. Coach, normally during the regular season, you're playing 2 games during the weekend against divisional opponents. Now you're playing 3 games against unfamiliar teams in a 4-day stretch. How do you and the coaching staff prepare for this stretch of a schedule compared to, a normal game week, so to speak?
Yeah, it's not easy. It takes some time. Obviously, we have to split the duties. We have to be ready for the Wendigo, and then as soon as the Wendigo are done, we have to be ready for the National Development Program. So we each have our responsibilities. We'll get to work on the video part of it. We'll get to work on the meeting part of it with our players and preparing them the best we can. But I mean, I've been in leagues where you play a different opponent, on a Saturday night than you did on a Friday night. So I mean, it's just a matter of getting to work, and obviously there's not a lot of downtime. You need to utilize the time that you do have to make sure you're prepared for the next opponent.
And last one here for you, Coach. Obviously, it's tough to predict how these non-divisional games are going to go. And like you said, you don't want to look too far ahead into your matchups. But what are the biggest keys to success that the Wings have to have in order to leave Blaine with a few more victories in the win column?
Yeah, you got to stick to your identity. Once you go in there and start playing a different way than you're used to playing, and sometimes you see teams do that just because of the scouting that's going on there. They want to try to showcase themselves, but the teams that stick to what they're good at and their structure are the teams that are successful. So, for us, we're preaching, let's just play our game and let's see how it shakes out.
And that's the head coach and general manager of the Aberdeen Wings, Scott Langer, giving us his thoughts before the upcoming NAHL Showcase. For the Wings, they'll begin the NAHL Showcase schedule on Wednesday against the Wisconsin Wendigo. Coach, thank you again for joining me here on Wings Weekly. Yeah. And coming up after the break, we'll catch up with veteran forward Owen Pitters as he scored 2 goals on the weekend versus Watertown. Stay locked in, Wings fans. We'll be right back after the break.
Pro Ag Supply leads the game with channel seed, liquid fertilizer, and tanks. With 3 generations of family service, we've spent over 40 years growing relationships with your family. So whether it's game day or planting day, Pro Ag Supply and Channel Seed are by your side. Pro Ag Supply.
L&O Transport and Farm wants you. They're currently hiring Class A CDL truck drivers and farm operators. Experience preferred, but not necessary. L&O offers great benefits like a 401k, 100% health, and year-end bonuses. Pay depends on experience, but wages are very competitive. They run the newest late model equipment and take pride in what they do. L&O Acres and Transport is a family-run business. Come be part of the L&O family. Give them a call at 605-226-0732.
Welcome back to Wings Weekly, ladies and gentlemen, and joining us now on the second half of the program is veteran forward number 24, Owen Pitters. Owen, thank you for joining me here on the program here today.
Thank you.
Before we get to the nuts and bolts of this past weekend here, how does it feel to be back in Aberdeen for your second season in a wing sweater?
Oh, really good. It's been really fun being around some of the returners. A lot of the new guys are really cool, and the coaching staff is really cool this year. But the mosquitoes have to go.
I definitely agree with that.
Okay.
Those need to go immediately. What did you do during the off season differently from last year to prepare for the 25-26 campaign?
Training wise, I trained more on speed, less power, more quickness, being able to stop and go quicker,
Right.
rather than being able to power through more stuff.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. How did you end up here in Aberdeen? Like, what was the recruiting process like for you to end up landing here as a home in Aberdeen in the junior hockey landscape?
So before I was even drafted to Aberdeen, I picked Aberdeen. I heard nothing but good things from my cousin Adam, who was here in the past, agents, past coaches, everybody said nothing but good things about this place.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. What was life like growing up for you in Michigan? And have you always been into hockey and been a hockey player?
So I didn't pick up hockey until I was about 9.5, maybe 10.
A little bit of a late bloomer then, huh?
Yeah, I was playing baseball and I was decent at it. But as soon as I put on the skates, I just realized baseball was a little slow compared to hockey, and I like the intensity.
Ain't that the truth of it? What are some of the most important life lessons you have learned, and what's the most helpful piece of advice you have received in your life?
I've learned some really good lessons through hockey. Like every game is almost like another story. Like either you're up in the first period and you pull through and win the game, or you're down and you pull through. You got to keep working through everything. And all the coaches here will say the same thing about the game, practices, and life.
That's perfect. I think that's a great description and answer to that question. Now kind of shifting it a little bit, if you had to give a word of advice to your rookie teammates, what would you tell them?
Positivity. Stay positive. You know, everybody's been in their shoes before. I remember my rookie days. It was pretty tough on me, but we all end up, if you work through it, you all end up in a good spot.
Battling through that anxiety and a little bit, that fear of making the team.
Right.
I hear you. All right, so bringing it back to the hockey side of things here, Owen, you scored 2 goals on Saturday night to help the Wings sweep the Shamrocks here this weekend to begin that Dakota Buffalo Cup. What are your thoughts on the boys' performance versus Watertown here this weekend, and how did it feel being back inside the Odde Ice Center on Friday night in front of those fans?
Being back in the Odde was unbelievable. More people showed up than I expected, because usually they don't show up till halfway through the year after the football's done. But it was really nice. Everybody was engaged. And then the team played unbelievable. I think we can bring a little bit more consistency, because when we're hot, we're unstoppable. But we gave Watertown everything they got this weekend. So if we could bring more consistency, we're all over everybody.
I love to hear that. The Wings are about to play 3 games against non-divisional opponents in 4 days at the NAHL Showcase in Blaine, Minnesota. Owen, are the boys preparing for this week differently than a normal game week per se?
Nope, we prepare for the game on Wednesday just like we prepared on Friday to play Watertown.
I love it. Final question here for you, Owen. Obviously, you don't want to look too far ahead into the matchups here this week. You got the win to go first on Wednesday night, but what are the biggest keys to success in order for the Wings to bring home a few more victories in the win column here?
I think we got to take it shift by shift, not worrying who we play on Friday. We got to worry about Wednesday before we worry about Friday.
Completely agree with that. And that's veteran forward for the Aberdeen Wings, Owen Pitters, joining me here on the program. Owen, thank you again for taking your time to join me here on the program today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
As we'll shift ahead now to the upcoming schedule, NAHL Blaine Showcase coming up starting on Wednesday, September 24th versus the Wisconsin Wendigo. Puck drop is at 6:30 p.m. Fans, if you want to travel all the way down there, that'll be in Super Rink number 3. Got a day break there on Thursday, but right back to the action on Friday, September 26th versus the USA National Team Development Program. That'll be a 5:15 puck drop in the Super Rink number 4. And finishing off the NHL Showcase on Saturday afternoon, it'll be the Aberdeen Wings versus the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. That will be a 3:30 puck drop in the Super Rink number 2. You can watch all the games live on NAHLTV.com, or if you don't have a subscription, you can listen to me, Cy Ivanuk, on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or the 94.1 The Rock app. The next home games will be Friday, October 3rd and Saturday, October 4th versus the St. Cloud Norsemen. All tickets can be purchased at tickets.aberdeenwings.com. At all C Express locations in Aberdeen, or you can pick up your tickets at the Lincoln Repair Aberdeen Wings box office in the Odde Ice Center lobby. Sponsorships and reserved season tickets are still available right now for the 25-26 season. You can get a hold of Aaron at 605-380-5852, or you can email Ryan at media@aberdeenwings.com for more information. And stay tuned for all the latest news and information on the Aberdeen Wings. Visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. That'll wrap it up for episode 2 of Wings Weekly here in the 25-26 season. We'll be back at it next week after the NAHL Showcase in Blaine, Minnesota. See you next week, Wings fans.